universal healthcare coverage and authority like in Visa, where we're working a lot in terms of healthcare for every citizen, making it accessible, improving the infrastructure. And I believe that there is a great opportunity for the BRICS nations to exchange the knowledge across BRICS nations about the UNC, about the regulations, and also how the medical value travel can be linked with the universal healthcare coverage. Over to you.
Thank you, Mandeep. Good morning to everyone. It's a huge honor to be here on the behalf of the Brazilian government and the behalf of the Brazilian Health Regulatory Agency in this session, talking with countries and representatives of countries that are part of BRICS. I would like also to thank the Indian government. We are here since last Wednesday, and we are being very well treated and knowing a lot of good relationship with a lot of companies and government agencies here. I would like to start talking about what we as three countries talked in the last meeting when Brazil was heading the group. We set three main goals. The first of it is one that is part of our mission here in India. We said that we need to establish, to make it better, the MOUs that we have, not only between the regulatory agents, but also between our countries, to make our communication more easily and more fast in a way that we can share our information in order to face the challenges that are common to all our countries. This was the first step. The second step was to try to organize the cooperation. How can we go through a common regulatory rules in order to be possible for our companies, private sectors, and government to dialogue in the same basis? The third and the most important was for us to advance in improving innovation while ensuring safety and efficiency. This was the key of that meeting. The meeting, the 11th meeting in Brazil, was put this as the main goal for our partnership. We need to be able to increase the importance of these countries in the development and the innovation and strong regulation, not as opposite force, but as a goal to achieve more access and more quality in health for everyone. But as you make me a question, I will direct the answer. Anvisa is also regulating not only medicines and medical devices, but also health services, and we are addressing some strategy that is focused on implement a national risk-based regulatory supervision model that is applied to a health system, a health service, like in Brazil, in a federation as big as India, as a country that is the size of a continent. We started establishing objective inspection framework that harmonize technical criteria across the country and classify facilities according to the potential health risk and embracing regulatory prediction, transparency, and proportional prioritization based on practicality. This is what we are advancing. And this may be the key for us to establish a partnership, as all my former speakers here in this session have done. We need to establish what are the patterns. And if the pattern can be the same or close to the same, we can be able to analyze how is the quality and the safety of the health services in all the countries in order not only to certificate, but to allow that people when go to this service in any of our countries, they can be sure that they will have the health treated with quality and safety. This is what we can establish. And we can establish partnership. We have the opportunity to, through BRICS, establish partnership not only in health services regulatory, but also in all the health ecosystem. I think we have the opportunity to embrace this BRICS initiative, to go beyond and go face our challenge with support together in order to be able to guarantee health quality to all the people. That's what I have to say to you.
Thank you, Diego. Thanks for sharing the experience of the Brazil. And also, I think one point that I take away from your conversation, that you had mentioned this earlier during the moderation session discussion also, was that it's not that the first time the BRICS nations are coming together and putting the priorities across the sectors. We've been doing that for a pretty long time. There are defined priorities and agendas that has been set, and as we pass on the baton from one nation to another, the continuation of those agendas and priorities and the common goals should be continued from one nation to another, and we should continue to have a priority and a focused approach and interventions to implement that. That could be part of the, one of the priority for the BRICS nations to continue that. Okay, let me invite Ms. Van. You've been working in aesthetic wellness segment for a pretty long time, and we understand this segment is growing segment not only across the BRICS nation but across the globe. And there is a huge opportunity for non-invasive aesthetic procedures and cosmetic surgeries and a lot of other interventions in that segment across the globe. How can we leverage that experience across the BRICS nations to make a global destination for aesthetic wellness across the BRICS nations, leveraging your experience and what you've been doing in this?
Với cái kinh nghiệm của chị thì chị sẽ đề xuất như thế nào để xây dựng cái mối quan hệ có số một cho đất nước.
Tôi xin chào tất cả các vị lãnh đạo ban tổ chức sự kiện, cùng toàn thể quý vị đại biểu của các nước có mặt tham dự hội nghị ngày hôm nay.
I would like to say hello to everyone joining this conference today.
Tôi là Trương Thị Hải Vân, giám đốc công ty khỏe đẹp thẩm thông liệu pháp và đến từ Việt Nam.
I'm Trương Thị Hải Vân, CEO of khỏe đẹp thẩm thông liệu pháp from Vietnam.
Tôi thấy việc phát triển liên minh du lịch y tế thẩm mỹ của các bạn đang phát triển là một điều rất là tuyệt vời, đi đúng với xu hướng phát triển và những mong cầu của thế giới.
And I really happy and recognize that it's so wonderful when you're a member of BRICS develop non-invasive beauty because that is a suitable trend in the world.
Đến với liên minh này thì mỗi một nước chúng ta có một cái thế mạnh khác nhau. Có nước có thế mạnh về y tế, có nước có thế mạnh về những danh lam thắng cảnh, những kỳ quan.
And each of member of BRICS has all the strong point, like sightseeing or medical assessment.
Có những nước có những văn hóa, xã hội và các phong tục tập quán khác nhau.
And diversity of culture.
Thì tôi nghĩ rằng cái việc chúng ta liên kết với nhau để phát huy thế mạnh của từng đất nước thì sẽ mang lại nhiều lợi ích cho cộng đồng, cả về chăm sóc sức khỏe, cả về chăm sóc sắc đẹp, cũng như là thu hút được nguồn ngoại tệ từ các nước đổ về. Bản thân tôi thì làm về mảng tạo hình thẩm mỹ khuôn mặt và cơ thể bằng tay không xâm lấn, và tôi cũng đã kết hợp giảng dạy với nhiều các hiệp hội ở trên thế giới. Tôi hợp tác với tổ chức Fabia, là hội hiệp hội làm đẹp và chăm sóc sức khỏe ở châu Á, và cũng đạt được những cái giải thưởng, đó là tạo hình sáng tạo đột phá về tạo hình thẩm mỹ làm đẹp khuôn mặt bằng tay không xâm lấn. Cũng như tôi hợp tác với tổ chức Global Casta và với một vai trò danh hiệu là Crown Master để đào tạo những cái vấn đề về liên quan đến tạo hình thẩm mỹ trên khuôn mặt và cơ thể bằng tay, và cũng là một master của ISO 17024 của Mỹ. Thì tôi mong muốn rằng với mảng tạo hình thẩm mỹ khuôn mặt và cơ thể bằng tay không xâm lấn được chia sẻ với các bạn ở tại liên minh của chúng ta, để mong rằng nhiều người được học hỏi về một cái phương pháp chỉ làm bằng đôi bàn tay, không phải phẫu thuật, không xâm lấn, nhưng đạt được kết quả khác biệt ngay sau mỗi một lần. Và khi chỉnh hình cơ thể được cân đối thì khí huyết sẽ lưu thông và người ta đẩy lùi các cái vấn đề bệnh tật rất là nhanh.
To showcase BRICS relationship, I believe we need three types of cross-border partnership. Firstly, a clinical collaboration between leading aesthetic centers brought BRICS to standardize protocols for injectables, lasers, and regenerative treatments. Secondly, share technology platform, especially AI-based skin analysis, teleconsultation, and outcome tracking. So patients can start consultation in their home country and continue treatment abroad seamlessly. Thirdly, co-branded excellence centers where BRICS physicians co-train and co-practice, positioning BRICS not as low-cost alternatives, but as innovation-driven aesthetic hubs. So, in her experience, more than 20 years in this sector, she already joined the FADIA Association. It means Federation of Association in China, or Global K-Star. So she would like to contribute her experience to develop this sector in BRICS communities. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Chúng tôi muốn là được nâng cao chất lượng trong điều trị và chăm sóc sức khỏe, tìm kiếm những nhân tài để đào tạo và đào tạo chuẩn, chất lượng cao. Thì đó chính là cái niềm mong mỏi của những người bệnh khi tìm đến với liên minh. Khi sức khỏe, sắc đẹp được cải thiện tốt thì họ sẽ chính là những người truyền thông cho liên minh được phát triển rộng khắp trên toàn thế giới.
So she would like to have the courses to share the experience, and then the clients, the patient will get better result, and they will become a great marketer for our communities. Thank you.
Và tôi còn một nguyện vọng nhỏ nữa, đó là muốn đề nghị là chúng ta có thể gây quỹ của liên minh để thứ nhất là giúp cho việc đào tạo về cái mảng về chăm sóc sức khỏe và sắc đẹp theo đồng bộ của liên minh đưa ra. Cái thứ hai là có thể tài trợ một phần nào đó cho những cái bệnh nhân mà chưa có đủ điều kiện hoặc biểu hiện khó khăn, thì người ta được tài trợ một phần nào đó trong cái quá trình họ đăng ký các cái dịch vụ của các liên minh ở các nước.
And I would like to suggest whether we should build a BRICS foundation for training, supporting, and support for the clients, also for those who got difficulties in treatment. So that is the good way to give back the community. Thank you.
Yeah. Cảm ơn các bạn đã lắng
Thank
nghe.
you. Thank you, Mr. Okay. Let me go to Karan and the last question to all my panelists. In terms of looking ahead to BRICS 2026, what concrete actions would you recommend to ensure that BRICS become not only a medical value with a vision, but also a global benchmark for integrated, equitable, and innovative healthcare collaborations.
Thank you. And I think the comments and the wealth of experience that we heard from the panel is a good starting point. I think if we look at three broad areas, one is on harmonization of standards of care. I think that is something that across the BRICS nations we can work towards. It could be hospital standards, it could be treatment guidelines, it could be outcomes and disclosures. I think if we can work together to do that, it will give a lot of confidence for citizens of our countries and not just BRICS, but the BRICS Plus now, because that's an expanded group of countries that form the cohort. The second would be really on capacity building. I think India has a wealth of experience to train doctors, nurses, paramedics, allied healthcare workers, and this can help strengthen the health systems of our big partner countries and vice versa as well. There are expertise that sits within health systems across the BRICS networks, and how can we tap onto that. The third would really be on harmonization of visa and how we can ensure that people-to-people connects, not just for patient to hospitals, but professional networks also that develop across specialties so that we can really strengthen this. And I think it will be very useful that all of the countries represented here and the more expanded BRICS also has alternative medicine and holistic medicine in our own shape and form. India does it under Ayush, many other countries also continue to do that. So how do we look at traditional medicine as another play where we can work together, see what has worked in other countries and learn from them so that there is a harmonization that is there. But most importantly, I think a working group of the BRICS countries, both on the B2B side and on the G2B side on healthcare cooperation is effective that we point from across the country.
Thanks, Eric. Thiago, few points from you.
Thank you. I think to be very practical, I think we need to keep making what we are doing here. We need to put all the countries that are in BRICS together. We have already a common agenda. I will repeat, we face the same challenge. We know exactly which are the potentials from each of the countries. India, as my colleague already said, is the pharmacy of the world, has a lot to contribute. Brazil has its potentials and its opportunities, and all the countries that are part of BRICS. I think what we really need is to put government actions, private sectors, professionals, patients together in order to deliver what we need to build to solve the common problem that we have and to make the potentiality of each one of us a better place for the world and for all.
Mr. Ayub?
I would like to advocate for countries within BRICS who have comparative advantage in health to go to the countries that are not that advantageous, to open up. For example, my friend spends a lot of money in medical travel. So, and they normally come to India, majority. So why would we stop India to go to Nigeria and open those hospitals so they can capture the patients at home so they don't have to spend their money traveling. So I think the win-win situation. The patients will have to spend a lot of money travel, and if you are protected in our country, so that both the patient and the investors will benefit. I think it's a win-win situation for all of us.
Thank you. And let me go to Jyoti, your point, the last few concrete steps that we should take across the BRICS nations. Not only we tried the MBT, but I think the larger agenda is that how do we create integrated, equitable and innovative healthcare collaborations across the BRICS nations?
Well, that's the most need of the hour, and I would suggest that amongst the BRICS nations, we need to have a consortium, narrow consortium to initiate, wherein all the health-related councils and associations of the BRICS countries can come together under one apex consortium which can facilitate these kind of interactions or knowledge exchange programs, whatever we are designing. And of course, the need of the hour, very, very effectively, is of course having an AI structure, how we can facilitate each other between the BRICS countries, how we can build up an AI governance system, how can we have the AI formulary setups where we can exchange the existing AI models between our BRICS countries is the need of the hour, because tomorrow to give a patient at the end of the day a reliable, more precise care, this is something which is very important.
Thank you, Jyoti. Dr. Abbas, your last remark and maybe appropriate steps. How do you see this getting into an actionable plan?
Personally, I think your role is very important for the continuation of this work. I think we should make a working group and so continue. The main subject that we could choose. Subjects was very good. Health tourism, harmonization, innovation ecosystem, HTA studies, and so on. I think we need to share the responsibility of each session. For example, I'm ready to share HTA studies that we had in Iran, and so we can share information with the others. And for example, for the harmonization of the regulations. And so you know that the political issues and economical issues generally is very important for the long-term cooperation between countries. My final suggestion is to a continuation of working group, the sharing of the responsibility, and everybody can get the responsibility for each session, and we can continue work together.
Thank you, Dr. Abbas. Let me go to this man.
Thank you. I think I would like to really emphasize that what the stumbling block would be, and that needs to be removed, is the issue of making sure that the regulators, I think we must all agree that healthcare is one of the most regulated areas across the globe. So it's important to get the regulators to talk to each other. They need to be facilitation of people coming to visit, for instance, from South Africa, the regulators here, and vice versa, etc., all over the country, so that we come up with a common platform on how we move forward, so that our protocols are not disjointed. So this is a very important aspect. If we want to move forward, there needs to be a meeting of the minds in terms of standards across the board, and also with the issue of the value travels, young value travels. It's important that these are paired up by attachments, mentorship, for instance, and also making sure that when people travel for healthcare, that when they go back home, there is that meeting of the protocols in the aftercare, so that these two systems talk. The two systems to talk. Those will be giving care back in their home country, and the people who will give the initial treatment. So the issue is coming together. The regulations are the most important things to get together so that we can move forward. If we do that, we will move forward faster and in a more equitable way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ian. And let me request Ms. Van to have the last concluding remark in terms of what concrete action items that you see in terms of making a break for successful healthcare corporations not only focusing on the medical value travel, but also driving the healthcare collaborations.
Theo ý kiến của tôi ấy, thì các nước mà có những cái thế mạnh gì thì chúng ta sẽ phát huy về cái mảng đấy. Và ví dụ như tôi thấy ở đất nước Ấn Độ này của các bạn là một đất nước là Phật pháp nhiệm màu, thì ví dụ như cái mảng du lịch về tâm linh thì sẽ thu hút được rất nhiều người trên thế giới đến nơi đây, và để cũng là được thăm nơi đất Phật, nơi Phật đã thiền định và đạt thành chính quả. Rồi ví dụ như ở Việt Nam của chúng tôi thì là có rất là nhiều cảnh đẹp, rất là nhiều kỳ quan ở trên thế giới cũng đã được UNESCO là công nhận, thì cũng là một nơi mà thu hút rất là nhiều khách đến vừa du lịch, nhưng đồng thời ở Việt Nam tôi cũng có những về y học cổ truyền, thì cũng là chăm sóc bằng tay hoặc là xoa bóp bấm huyệt châm cứu thì cũng rất là nổi tiếng. Ví dụ như mảng thế thì chúng tôi cũng có thể là phát huy được rất là mạnh mẽ, và chúng tôi cũng là những người đại diện cho Việt Nam được đến dự hội nghị lần thứ 8 của Liên minh, thì chúng tôi mong rằng là cũng sẽ được đóng góp một cái phần nào đó cái công sức của mình cho cái công cuộc này.
So besides the AI technology or transparent information, she would like to focus on USP, unique selling point of each member in BRICS community, like India, very famous in spiritual places because of this medical tourism, and she recognized that a lot of clients, patients, really want to join the spiritual tourists. They can get meditation, peaceful, and in Vietnam or in India there are a lot of places get reward from UNESCO. And then Ayurvedic or traditional medicine also famous and good trained in the world. A lot of people focus on this, so she hoped that the strong action that we will focus on spiritual tourism besides the treatment. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. And I think the points that we discussed are something not very unique or new, but definitely holistically reflecting on them from a BRICS nation's perspective, what each of the countries feel and what they demand and what they think is important. And I think 5 to 7 points which I believe is key takeaway for me from this session, and also for the FICCI and all the entire industry to reflect on, and then how do we take this forward. I think the biggest point was that how do we leverage the healthcare infrastructure development support across the nations. Few of the countries, China, India, various other countries have importance of creating cost-effective healthcare infrastructure, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. How do we bring that knowledge and collaborations across the nation to bridge the gap that exists in terms of the number of beds that we have, the hospitals, in terms of creating pharmaceutical industry, medical devices, manufacturing units. That's very important that not only government-to-government partnership, but also government-enabled business-to-business partnership or B2B partnership to be very great efforts. The second is jointly setting up capacity building and skilling centers across the BRICS nations to harness on the expertise and the knowledge that they bring across the nation. It's important. Maybe tomorrow we can have a medical college that is set up in India or in somewhere else where the government can come together. You can help in creating doctors, nurses across there. You can have an enablement and skilling center in Vietnam to train on the cosmetics and various other areas. Third area is, I think, each of the nation brings a unique value apart from the allopathic treatments. the traditional medicines that exist across these nations. In India, for example, Ayush, in Vietnam, in China, a lot of things. That's important that we exchange, not only drive the allopathic medicine, but also the alternative and the traditional medicines. The third very important is to have the forum to drive the research across the nations, harnessing on the strengths and building a partnership of collaborative research in the medical sciences and healthcare research. That's very important. And then lastly, how can we simplify and have a seamless regulation across these nations, not only in terms of the quality control, quality assurance, standard treatment, drugs and medication, but also the patients can seamlessly move across these nations to drive this and leverage and build upon the British nation collaboration that we have fostered here. And I hope that we not only discuss all these points in forums, but also have some actions and concrete steps towards this. And definitely government, industry, and industry bodies like FICCI and all of us are responsible and should participate in making this happen. I'm very thankful to each one of you for your time and being present here, and to all our audience for being a great audience and trying to help us to feel this, all today and being a very patient listener. I'm thankful to you all and over to you.
Thank you so much, Lalit, for the brilliant moderation. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I would like to thank our panel members for the brilliant panel discussion. And I would like to invite on the stage Madam Manvi Tiwari, Deputy Director FICCI, to please present the mementos and certificate of appreciation to all our panel members. Can we have the mementos, please? I request our panel members to please step ahead. We would like to start off with Ms. Jyoti Kaur. I request. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, madam. It's always a pleasure hearing you. To Dr. Karan Thakur. To Mr. Ian Matondo. I request all the panel members to please join us towards the center to collect their mementos. Dr. Abbas Kebrias. Let's have a huge round of applause to Mr. Ayuba Tango Ibrahim. To Mrs. Wan. Can I please request Mrs. Wan to join us? Can we have the memento, please? Thank you, ma'am. And last but not the least, to our esteemed moderator, Mr. Lalit Mistry. And to Mr. Tiago Campos. towards the center. And I would also request Manvi to please join us for the photo. So ladies and gentlemen, with that we were just witnessing the brilliant session BRICS Health Dialogue, strengthening global healthcare cooperation and medical value travel partnerships. The brilliant panel discussions centered around BRICS Health Dialogue, and on behalf of the entire organizing committee of FICCI, I would like to thank all our esteemed panel members across the different nationalities for joining us here for this brilliant panel discussion and sharing their thoughtful and insightful messages with all of us. Let's have a huge round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the very insightful panel discussion that we just witnessed. Thank you so much.